welcome everybody and thank you for coming out today on what has proved to be one of the most glorious afternoons of the year so far. I'm not going to knock it because in the food, drink and craft industries, we have been desperate for some good weather to encourage people to be out and about and shopping and generally enjoying life. So I'm not going to say another word about that. My name is Jill Sargent. I work for a company called Producing Kent. Who are we? We're the trade organisation dedicated to supporting and promoting food, drink and craft in Kent. And even after 18 years, that still doesn't trip off my tongue the way it should. Our job is to provide vital support to businesses through a diverse range of membership events and support. And in turn, those businesses are providing valuable economic and employment opportunities in Kent. And they are really the heart of our rural communities. We are a not-for-profit company, and we're a small but mighty team currently of 2 and a bit. The bit's very important. One of our primary ways of promoting our businesses, promoting those companies we're working with, is through our marketing, which looks at through our website, through our newsletters that go into everyone's email inboxes, through our social media, and talking to people at events and networking like this across the county. The aim is really simple. It's not rocket science. It's to help tell the stories of those businesses. It's about sharing their needs, their experiences, their events, helping people to understand why they need to support businesses, what's great about those businesses, have a better understanding about food production, about where their food comes from. And by working together under the banner of Producing Kent, we are a much stronger body of companies. We have a much wider reach than those companies do individually. And it's very much about that survivor's web effect. We've got around 40,000 followers across all our channels. Our emails see around a 45% open rate, which is extremely high. And the website traffic in 2023 went up by around 23%. So it's all going in the right direction. We just need more people and more customers on board all the time. It's not about, for us, taking an audience and cutting it into ever smaller pieces. It's about building a bigger and bigger audience for everything you as local businesses do. Moving forward this year, we will be putting together a series of learning events and networking events. And they will be a mix of virtual, but they'll also be back to face because we think it's really important. It's taken a long while to get back in front of people. Post-pandemic and everything else, we know there's a huge pressure on businesses, but actually being in the room with people does make a real difference. I'm going to start with our Lunch and Learn, that jazzy title that we came up with one Monday morning. That will be lunchtime seminars on everything from pricing strategies or photography, from funding to salsa, not the dancing if anybody was worried, but the safe and local supplier approval system. We will also be running a series of Meet the Expert events. So we've pulled together panels of buyers, local and national. We've brought together taste and brand experts. We're giving people the opportunity to pitch their products, to meet retailers, to meet wholesalers, and really sort of put networking on a micro level. And beyond that, we'll have our own networking events. We're very fortunate to work in the food, drink and craft industries where we will have lots of members who do lots of interesting things. So our networking might be in a gin distillery, looking at a gin tour. It might be looking at robotics on farms. We have the advantage of being able to pick some great locations. So why buy local? It's been our mantra for nearly 20 years, and sometimes it feels like it's a never-ending task. People do understand a lot more, and they do appreciate a lot more about what's on their doorstep, and certainly post-COVID, that was evident. Our job now is to keep that audience and to grow it even more. There's great quality out there. There's healthier and fresher produce out there. There's provenance and traceability, sustainability. Different reasons attract different customers. It's about local jobs. It's about food security. It's about preserving the countryside. But put all that together, and most importantly, it's about the economic impact that it has. I thought I'd miss the slide then. So let me look at the numbers. Food and drink is the UK's largest manufacturing sector. Bigger than aviation, bigger than automotive when you put it all together. And maybe that's not a surprise, but it usually is. The latest figures we could find was that it contributed £28.8 billion to the national economy. And around 400,000 people were in full-time employment. Kent has around 2,200 food and drink enterprises. And that doesn't include retail, hospitality and tourism. One of the issues that we have around figures is that food lives in lots of places. So it's in manufacturing, it's in retail, it's in hospitality, it's in tourism, it's in agriculture and horticulture. Each one of those is covered by a different government body. Each one of those is covered by a different set of statistics. So trying to pull together realistic numbers on the impact of the sector is really quite hard. I think the fact that it touches our lives every day should just be an indicator of how important it is. For these purposes, I thought I'd go for a definition. The food and drink production industry is defined as all businesses involved in processing raw food materials, packaging and distributing them. This includes fresh and prepared foods, as well as packaged foods, alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. So it's quite broad. Oh. Didn't mean to do that. If you want the slide later, you can see the figures. Concerningly, perhaps, Kent has seen a fall of around 8% in the number of food and drink enterprises in the last 5 years. Now, the period over that which that's been is equally possibly not a surprise. We are slightly above the national and regional average, and so we would hope that we can pull a hold to that and start to drive some growth going forward. Does it matter? Of course, I'm going to say it matters. But the growers, the farmers, the manufacturers are the backbone of the food and drink production in our county and in our country. They're supplying the local retailers, the local cafes, coffee shops, pubs, restaurants, tourism venues, leisure venues. They support local markets, they support local events. And they're a central part often of a rural community. And Kent is still predominantly a rural county, despite the fact that it does have some fantastic towns and some slightly more urban areas. We still are at our heart a rural county. And some of the businesses that we've lost, we will not easily replace. So that's the reason why we need to keep supporting local and keep supporting Kent. I was asked to talk today about how to buying local strengthen local economies. So I thought we'd go old school and go numbers, I'm afraid. So anyone who's not good at maths, bear with me. I'm not. I've checked these figures several times. So if you start with the Office for National Statistics and the census data, Kent has a population of roughly 1.5 million. It has 648,400 households. According to the ONS, the weekly average food cost is £62.60. Now, think about that in your own world. Does £62.60 sound, £62.20 sound right? Maybe it's more, maybe it's less. It is an average. I also had a look at some other statistics. So since I think it's now over 75 years, the ONS have been collecting something called the Family Spending Report, which looks at the percentage of our income we spend and what we spend it on. It may come as no surprise that in recent years, the percentage we spend on housing has doubled, and the spend on food has actually halved. Now, it may not feel like that when you go and do your weekly shop, but if you think of it as a percentage of your overall income, the amount we actually spend on food and drink is actually decreasing. And that's just because of the demands on the pounds in your pocket. So it's ever more important that when we do spend those pounds, we spend them with purpose. More numbers, sorry. So if you base the number of households and you take the average amount we spend, so 648,400 times £62.22, that equates to over £40 million per week on food and other drinks just in Kent. Multiply that out, and it's over £2 billion a year, which I think is quite a big number. And the caveat on that is this is just individual and family shopping. So it doesn't include public sector, it doesn't include NHS and hospitals and schools and all of those other bodies that are buying food on a weekly basis. It doesn't include businesses, just households. And I'm going to focus on that today because I will mention businesses later on and what businesses can do. But actually, everyone in this room is an individual. Everyone in this room is part of a household. So everyone in this room does have a part to play. Keeping it simple, if we take 10% of that overall figure, it's over £209 million that we could be directing into our local economy directly. How much is currently being spent locally? I refer you back to my previous comment about numbers. We don't actually know, but we know it can be more, and we know it's not 209 million. And when you break that back, that amounts to £6.22 per household per week. Now, there are some households, absolutely, who can't afford that £6.22 per week, don't have access to transport to get to a farm shop or to a market. But there are a lot more that could spend that £6 here and considerably more. The impact that it has is financially sustainable businesses who employ people, who pay business rates, who pay taxes, who support their local communities. The indirect benefit is that they spend with other local businesses, so packaging, ingredients, taxes, printing, training, uniforms, you name it. As well as employees of those businesses who have money in their pocket to go out again and spend in their local communities. So what are we asking? What can anybody do to actually help to improve that economic impact and help the economic outlook of all our district councils? I keep moving away from the camera. For all of your council areas, for all of your local districts, your local communities, wherever you live. It's about making conscious choices to buy local food where and when you can. Nobody is saying that we should all buy 100% local 100% of the time. God help you if you're in a house of children and you don't have a banana, that's all I'm going to say. But we can plan to visit a local butcher, farm shop or a market. Maybe only it's once a month, maybe it's once a week. Choose your local wine, your local beer, your local cider, gin, whiskey, rum. We're very blessed with alcohol. Not that I'm obviously encouraging that. Please drink responsibly. There's an amazing array of non-alcoholic options as well. When you're buying a gift, think a little bit more carefully. Can it be from a local maker? Can it be from a local shop in your high street? Can it be from somebody who actually has an online shop but is still local? Those pounds still matter. Very easy to always reach for the 24-hour delivery from Amazon. Just think sometimes and maybe plan a bit better. I've done it too, so I'm not laying blame on anyone. Stop in for coffee or lunch, choose a wonderful independent venue like the one we're in today. order a veg box, get your milk delivered. Some of those things are available all over the county. Some of those are only available in certain parts of the county. If you need help finding out what's available in your county, well, then please visit the Producing Kent website, because that's where we're here. I've focused very much on you as individuals, but I did want to mention as businesses what we can do. If you're taking out clients or entertaining, think about locals, think about independent pubs, restaurants, cafes, coffee shops. Are you looking to buy Christmas or other types of gifts or rewards? Again, can it be something local? If you're taking catering for in-house meetings, again, it's very easy to default to the supermarket sandwich platter, but it doesn't take much more to support one of your local cafes or caterers who will provide you with a fantastic spread. The simple thing is we can all do something, and we can probably all do something more than we're already doing. And I put myself in that bracket as well. Everyone in here is part of business, and we want your customers. You're asking your customers to choose you and support a local business. So what I'm asking you to do is to think the same way about other products that you interact with and the services you interact with. We have to do as we want our customers to do. Takes a little bit of thought, takes a little bit of effort. But if we do it, we can make a really big difference. I refer back to my other numbers. £209 million is just 10% of the average spend. So if we apply that by another 10%, it's an awful lot more money being spent and kept in Kent. Any questions? Or have I stunned you all into silence?
So I'm Jared Francis, and I'm a local councillor in South second biggest town in the that I probably want to build the town. We've got a new civic centre and it's been tired for about 2.5 years now. Getting farms and markets together in our new fair. Have we been able to achieve that yet? No, we haven't. And I don't exactly know the detail of why that is. Certainly, just to there, but to get what is to come with any numbers on a regular basis is extremely difficult. I would say we used to have a fish stand that came every Friday and parked in that space with all the whole news and everybody loved it. And when I said to him, why is it like, why you have a my son, he works with the manager of the team too, and more than I do another month. Now, we all know it's talking people to buy the local, but we do look at that and use it. I think it is I would probably
there is a challenge always, because we are the businesses that we're talking about, the businesses that are local, that are based in your communities, are never going to have the scale of the delivery system that the likes of the supermarkets have got. We do have now veg box deliveries that can go out across the county. We do have a little bit more in the way of farmers markets. Unfortunately, one of the impacts of the pandemic was a negative and a positive. So the negative was we lost quite a few traders who took that opportunity to retire, or to perhaps, because their business wasn't one that could easily pivot, they weren't able to survive. The unintended consequence of what we had was a lot of people were driven to doing things from their own premises, rather than being out at markets and out at events. And having built up that business, funnily enough, They're not as keen as they once were to go out and stand in the pouring rain on a wet Wednesday afternoon. That is changing, and we are getting new startups and new producers coming on board. We've got some really exciting developments with new small market gardens and other things like that happening. It will come. It's not going to happen overnight, and I do absolutely understand that you've got to make it easy for people. We are competing with a 24/7, 365-day delivery model. We're never going to be that, but we do have to make it easier. Yep. Either pop onto the website or just email info@producingpaint.co.uk. We've got a shared mailbox, we see everything, so by all means reach out. Or speak to Vicky, she's got all of my contact details, and what I presume you'll share the slides afterwards. Okay. So I'll make sure that we've included contact details on there, Jane. If there's nothing else, then I believe my job is now to introduce Sarah-Louise.
Oh, you had another slide. This was your final slide. I don't know if you wanted to say anything about it, but this is your social media, isn't it? Oh, so if people want to, yeah. So really, really quickly from me, because I know everyone's sort of melting right now. I wanted to speak about the opportunities for food and drink businesses within the tourism economy. So with the return, like the full return of international visitors, and also the popularity of experiences. So first of all, visitors, who are our visitors to Kent? Obviously, we've got the domestic market, but then in terms of international, looking at visit written data from 2022, and looking at the highest volume, we've got the French, the German, people in the Netherlands, the USA, and Poland. But then, interestingly, looking at the value, we've still got the USA, we've got Germany, we've got France, but then you've got Spain and Switzerland who creep in to that value. So they may not be as many, but they will spend money. And the Spanish especially, in the research, it shows that they're really interested in those food and drink experiences. And as Jill said, the economic impact, super important. And here we see in the latest Kent economic impact Cambridge model that you'll be glad to see that food and drink comes up as the second biggest expenditure. And I mean, as Jill said as well, there's probably some of that in the retail aspects as well. So it's really encouraging to see that you have those, that it's got that high expenditure. Oh, no, sorry. So just with that and the experiences that are so popular these days, I thought I'd just kind of give you an overview of some, if you're not already doing experiences, or if you're an individual looking for some food experiences in Kent, what's quite popular. So you've got tours, obviously you've got vineyard tours, tastings are maybe the easier if you haven't got like a full vineyard, but maybe you have a business like this, like the Old Auction House, you might want to do a bit of local gin tasting. We've got a local coffee brewer that comes from a coffee roastery. You could do a bit of coffee tasting, but you could also do a bit of foraging and then come back and do a cooking class. Chef's tables are really popular as well. And also, if you've got a farm, a kind of pick your own experience is quite popular as well. These are just some kind of popular examples, but if you have an idea feel free to come and speak to Jill and myself. We'll kind of, you know, direct you in the right direction, see what the steps are and go from there. And then just for those Tunbridge Wells Borough and kind of surrounding area businesses that are here with us today. Just a shameless plug to say we've rebranded our Visit Tunbridge Wells website, and there's some opportunities on there for promotion. We've got an event calendar, we've got directory, articles, newspapers, a special offers section and experiences section. And then my final slide is just to say, if you're kind of within the borough or, you know, surrounding areas, because we know that visitors don't care about administrative boundaries, please do give us a tag on social media and we'll be glad to share. Thank you. Oh, I went through that one. Thank you. And I think that.
Thank you, Sarah. No one easy. Put that noise on the background. Okay, I'd just like to say a quick thank you to those online, as we would now be ending the recording and the live stream. Many thanks. And if I could just share with you a slide, if I may. The next event will be on Wednesday, the 18th of September from 10 till 12. Building partnerships for profit. It's a good one. It really does open your eyes to a lot of areas that you may not necessarily have thought about. With guest speaker Jess White from Spark Networking. So it's one to think about perhaps coming along too. Like I said, these slides will be available at a later date. The video will be available on YouTube and on the website for those who wanted to go back and revisit it. Like I said, many thanks for all participating and goodbye to the online participants.